I had the opportunity to share my testimony through technology with a friend. We were chatting on this online chat forum, it's called Discord, and he was going through some struggles, he was facing some challenges, and I asked him if he prayed, and he came back to me asking about my experience with prayer and how to pray. And I was able to share the things that I feel when I pray and sort of the structure of a prayer. And he was really grateful for that. He voiced that he was thankful that I would care enough to sort of put my heart out in that way to share that with him.
I was able to share the gospel using technology on my mission. We were quite limited with the technology that we had, quite old school. So we went down to the library to do our emails, and one week I had a little USB thumb drive and I downloaded General Conference on there, and I was able to give it to an investigator who watched it. And the next time we went to visit him, he had had a bit of a revelation, and he had grown to believe and trust that we did have a prophet alive today, and he was really much more open and accepting of the gospel through being able to watch his talk, which was a really awesome experience.
I use technology to share the gospel by, when I feel prompted, sharing my testimony over my various social media platforms, as well as creating an open space environment for people to feel comfortable with asking me questions. I've had many people swipe up to my stories, private message me on different things, asking me their questions, and it has been able to be a great missionary tool. And I don't know if I've planted seeds in people's hearts of their interest in religion or their interest in our church. All I know is that it helps me to feel really comfortable in who I am, because as I share my testimony, the light of Christ shines even more on me and shines out more to other people.
I just share my testimony and share my experiences and make them realistic to my day-to-day life. As you can see, I'm out cycling at the moment. I'm raising awareness for mental health and many other things, and I try and join that up with the gospel as much as possible, and then I use that on my Facebook page, and sometimes I share videos with the elders in the stake and in the world, and they then share that in our stake page, and that helps quite a lot, because at the moment we're really in limbo as such, and being able to share these experiences on Facebook is absolutely amazing.
I saw a post on a Facebook group that I'm a part of about things that are going on in Paphos, which is a city I'm currently serving in, and there was this guy asking for Greek teachers, and as me and my companion teach Greek once a week, we responded and said, hey, we teach Greek, you can come along if you want, just send me a message. Now that guy didn't respond, but someone else did, and she sent me a message and said, yeah, I'd love to learn Greek, I'd love to come. I said, great, yeah, awesome. And she came on the Wednesday, and we spoke about Greek, but we also spoke about who we are and what we do here, and she asked for a copy of the Book of Mormon, so that was cool. And then she came, not yesterday, hold on, like 2 days ago, this Wednesday, and talked again about the Book of Mormon and about religion, who we are, what we do, and also about Greek. But that has definitely been a way that social media has blessed someone's life. They have now come in contact with the gospel of Jesus Christ more than maybe they had before, and they were able to meet us and to get a copy of the Book of Mormon.
A while back I was able to have an experience in sharing the gospel through technology, where my friend messaged me through Instagram telling me that he was feeling down and was having suicidal thoughts. We talked for a while and we got onto the subject of the gospel, where I shared my testimony with him in the faith and hope we can find. I encouraged him to download a gospel library where he was able to find and read the Book of Mormon for up to 2 weeks. He messaged me back afterwards saying that he definitely found that faith and that hope that he was looking for, and that the gospel and the technology I'd used to share with him was able to help him get through his tough time.
Sharing the gospel through social media is something that I'll be honest, I've struggled with, as is something that I found quite intimidating and quite a bit scary. But in recent months I've given myself the challenge to use my Facebook page to be more proactive in sharing my thoughts about the gospel. And one of the ways I do this, I chose something that I was comfortable with, and that was music. And I felt impressed that I needed to share pieces of uplifting music that I could then, alongside that, bear testimony to or share my feelings about. And so I initially started posting this regularly on the sisters page, and now I post regularly on my own personal page that reaches many of my non-member friends and lots of less active friends also. And I make sure that I do it with the spirit in mind, so that I can be guided and directed to know what I need to share to reach those that the Lord is needing and wanting to reach in that particular time. I had the experience recently where I woke up one morning with a song in mind, and two names popped into my head, and I had a really strong impression that this song, whilst there were many people who would hear it, was for them. They needed to hear this. And I was so excited that within minutes of posting this, I had a comment come through from one of these people saying how grateful they were for this music. And it just witnessed to me that as we are tools in the Lord's hands, and He directs us, as we listen to what He asks us to do, He can reach the one. We don't necessarily have feedback every time, but just to know that He can use our efforts, and that the work can go on because we've been willing to go and do.
So I have a friend who was going through a bit of a difficult time, I suppose. Like they had some issues with faith and things like that. And before the lockdown, we would talk all the time and would have lots of different conversations, and it was really good. But when the lockdown happened, we weren't able to communicate so much, or at least we wouldn't have been able to if it hadn't been for the fact that technology exists. Thanks to Skype and other things like that, we were able to communicate all the time. And we're able to continue having those gospel sort of discussions and just like general discussions. And it really benefited them to be able to have that. And, you know, it was like, we both felt the Spirit, and it was a good experience for both of us.
A way I was able to spread the gospel using technology was when my friend approached me. Now, she was really struggling with something in the family, struggling to come to terms with the death of a close family member. When she approached me, I thought back to the lesson that I had just taught to the young men. The lesson was titled Enduring Till the End, and I found a segment from the lesson which I thought would greatly benefit her, so I sent it to her via an application called Snapchat. She had greatly benefited from me sharing with her, as it reaffirmed the sense of, whilst things may be tough now, they won't always be tough for her in the future, and that if she stays faithful and continues staying strong in the gospel, she can get past this challenge and endure to the end. So I'm really grateful I was able to benefit my friend that way, and all through technology. I'm glad I was able to share that with her.
I had a really good experience recently where one of my really good friends met someone through a Facebook group who was interested in learning a bit more about the church, and it was a really wonderful opportunity to be able to talk to her about that. And unfortunately he wasn't able to answer all her questions, and so we actually ended up making a Facebook Messenger group with me, her and him on it, and we were all able to talk about the gospel together and answer some of those questions that she had. And it was a really great opportunity to talk to her about that, even though she lived far away, and to be able to keep in contact with her through technology.
When I had the opportunity to serve my mission, I was able to teach a wonderful lady, and at the time that we were teaching her, she was really struggling with the concept of a prophet on the earth today and how he could help her. So something that we really did to just utilize the technology that we were given in order to help her was that we sent her general conference talks every day. We sent her about 3 or 4, and you think that's a lot, but she actually read them all or listened to them. And that was really able to help her increase her testimony of understanding of how the prophets, even present and past, are able to really help increase her testimony of the Saviour. So that's something that I was able to do, and that was really awesome for me.